Aquarius, hello. We are going to be talking about Saturn entering Pisces on March the 7th and finally leaving your sign. Finally leaving Aquarius. How do you feel about that? Let's talk about it. So out of everybody, you in Capricorn probably with Saturn ruling them, but Saturn being in Aquarius, you two probably feel like everybody else should just shut up because you probably feel like you got it worse than everybody. It's been in your damn first house this entire time, you poor babies. And it has definitely not been easy for any of us, but now it's finally leaving your sign and going into Pisces. So what does that mean for you? That means that now it's going to be in your second house. So Saturn still is going to transit through your sign like it does for the other 11 signs, but now it's not in Aquarius anymore. Now it is in Pisces, which means that it stayed so much time in your first house. There could have been a lot of financial things going on, a lot of changing how you feel. We'll get into that. Who you are, leveling up at work, leveling up in your relationships, so forth and so on. Now it is going to be dealing with your money. Now Capricorn just went through that the entire time. So you might want to talk to a Capricorn friend, find out how it went for them, or just read some of the comments. I did ask Capricorn. I asked all of the zodiac signs to comment on this podcast about, if you're watching it on the website, you're not going to be able to comment. If you're catching it on the YouTube podcast, that's where you can comment. So drop it like it's hot in the comments. I've been asking everybody to let me know how it's going for them so they can give the next zodiac sign advice. Let's get into it. So second house, this is your house of money. Ruled by Taurus and the planet of Venus, related to your possessions. What's been going on with your possessions? What will be going on with your possessions? But it's not only focused on tangible things. Placements in this house can also help you gain insight into all that belong to you, be it your money, investments, and material environment, or your inner self needs, wants, and abilities. Value in the name of this house refers to both your finances and your internal values. Okay, let's get to it. Sweet relief. Let's give you a round of applause. This March 7th, heavyweight Saturn finally releases you from its grip. Okay, ushering a strong, smart, and sophisticated Aquarius back into the world. The last 3 years have been quite a challenge to your identity because it was in your first house. Your identity. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And that's what happens when Saturn comes into your sign. Every 29 years or so, we must pay a hefty cosmic tuition to get through a serious, rigorous Saturn finishing through the Saturn's finishing school. It all began March 21st, 2020, the day of the initial pandemic lockdowns. That day, Saturn began its first visit to your sign since 1991, putting you through his personal boot camp. No longer was it an option to be carefree, nomadic, and non-committal. Many of our favorite Aquarians slipped off the radar and endured serious life lessons about setting boundaries and stepping into a leadership role. Now, I do know a couple of Aquarians who did not take that lesson. And I've been telling a couple of people this too, and I've been focusing on the fixed signs. I would say Taurus rising, Leo rising and suns, Scorpio rising and sun, and now Aquarius. You guys have had, or probably are going to have, the hardest time because you're fixed and you could be very, very afraid to step into a leadership role or do something where you're being urged to step out and make yourself uncomfortable. And that is going to prove to be detrimental to you if you did not learn those lessons about stepping up into your leadership roles. A lot of you guys needed to put yourself in the spotlight and fight for this. But if you didn't do it, now, as it's transiting through your second house, those lessons that you did not learn when it was there to teach you those lessons is going to come over into your second house. Let me break it down to you so it can forever be broken. So for those of you who did not set firm boundaries and now you're going into your second house, those not setting boundaries are going to follow you into your second house lesson. Now you're going to be even more anxious, more pissed off, and more importantly, not stepping up into a leadership role and not doing that and challenging yourself to be better or to take the plunge because you're smart as a whip. You got the experience. You probably were just afraid to step out. What's going to happen now is now Saturn is following you into your second house. You're going to still be underpaid. You're going to still feel undervalued because some of you need this restructure in your second house because you probably feel like you're not worth nothing to anybody or valuable because you don't get paid enough. So I am kind of happy that the house of identity and the house of the next 3 years is going to be dealing with your money. You should come out of this going into your third in the next 3 years really knowing a lot about a lot of things, such as your communication that you will be learning at that time, but much more about your value to yourself, self-care, and reinventing yourself in your first house and knowing who you are. My thoughts and prayers are going out to you. All right, let's work. March 7th, you can emerge with hard-earned resilience intact. Saturn's graduating class of the water bearers had experience to share, and we're ready for your leadership. So one summa cum laude example is a triple Aquarius meteor mogul, Balsama St. John, a.k.a. Badass Boz, whose new book, The Urgent Life, My Story of Love and Loss and Survival, debuts on March the 4th. In her book, the former Netflix and Apple Music CMO shares the death of her husband and her life as one of the top black women in entertainment's C-suites. Saturn wisdom received. Go get those books. Listen to these fellow Aquarians. All right? Now, and St. John isn't the only Aquarian who will be releasing a memoir as Saturn departs. Heiress Paris Hilton hits the shelf. Paris's Tome hits the shelves on March 14th. Hilton is a new mom and has been revealing her Saturnian strength for the past 3 years, shedding her self-described dumb blonde image and debuting her real voice rather than the ditzy drawl she made famous. In her documentary, This Is Paris, which I did want to watch, she shared about the sexual abuse and the mistreatment that she endured as a young person in the entertainment business. No one expected that her privileged life would spawn an activist, perhaps not even Paris herself. Now it's time to put your monies where your morals are. This March 7th, as the Virgo full moon beams down into your 8th house of wealth, we are doing a full moon pool like we always do. So I will give you the commentary on your career and relationships on the podcast, okay? If you're interested in that new moon in Pisces that's already available, please go give it a listen. Now, so 8th house of wealth and influence, Saturn will move into Pisces in the first time this century. Until February 13th, 2026, the ringed taskmaster will add structure and sobriety to your self-worth and sense of security. You know who you are, at least you feel like you do. A slightly wobbly legs you'll strap into Saturn's next personal growth seminar, which will challenge you to build your life around your principles and personal mission. How are you earning a living? Spend your time and move throughout the day-to-day life will become central. Slacking, unless it's on the email replacement app, it is not an option. The last time Pisces was here was May 21st, 1993 to April 7th, 1996. If you're old enough to remember what happened during that time, you're being guided to look back for clues to what may have resurfaced. And if you were born then, bravo, welcome to your Saturn return. Now, with restrictive Saturn in your financial district, your funds will be tighter at times, just like what Capricorn just went through, I believe. So the bigger lesson, You'll be asked to make grown-up choices for your money, saving for that a rainy day or even a sunny one instead of being wasteful. Slow and steady progress is in order, Aquarius. Saturn rules experts, so you may want to go and work with a financial coach, a financial advisor to break patterns and change any self-defeating habits for good. Congratulations, Aquarius. It's going to get a little bit better, but now it's messing with something that we do not want it to mess with, and that is our monies, as my daughter says. So good luck. And go ahead and let me know how the last transit fared for you in the podcast comments, so other individuals can see even if you didn't know what was going on, now that you've listened to this, let me know, how it went for you. See you in the next one.